start at Spa, where it's lights out and away we go, and Hamilton gets an absolute flyer from second on the grid. Lewis Hamilton is a fire at the back of that Mercedes car. His engine has blown, and his chances of winning the Malaysia Grand Prix with it.
Oh no, no!
Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Unplanned Pit Stop for another episode. My name is Hamish.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Jordan. Blah, 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 blah.
Jordan has 1,000% increased his energy levels since
from literally
30
seconds ago.
Let's see if it continues. It could be a steady
sharp
decline.
spike and then slow decline, very much like Alonso in the sprint race.
Yeah, I think you'll find, Hamish, it will be a very sharp decline as well. I'll be going down as quickly as I went up.
The serotonin levels will drop.
If you can find Sarah, I'd love to see her.
I'd love to see her again. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
Been a hot minute.
Fuck, this beer is rough, lads.
Well, we firstly want to, quick apology to the listeners. Had a few things on and whatnot that we missed last week, but we are obviously back to talk about, do a quick review of the British Grand Prix and get stuck into Hungary before all the big stuff happens. But firstly, lads, anyone want to guess where they can find us? Where, on what socials and at what handles can they find us?
Are you actually asking us?
I'm now outsourcing.
Oh, well, you can find us on Facebook at The Unplanned Pit Stop.
At Twitter, at YouPitStop.
Instagram, also at The Unplanned Pit Stop.
And that's it.
Oh, yeah, I think that's it. And then Spotify, iTunes, Overcast, Buzzsprout, Tumblr,
Grindr,
Twitch, Periscope, Bumble, Hinge, OnlyFans, TikTok. What else? I'm sure there's more. There's more that'll come. Snapchat.
Hamish, have you muted yourself?
Hamish has managed to mute himself somehow, which is just great. Oh, this is
It's not ideal when you're the host of the podcast.
Not ideal when he's the host.
No, we cannot hear you now.
We cannot hear him either. So he's struggling.
There we go.
Turns out my headphones have a muting option as well. I was double muted.
The master of technology.
It's the fucking government, I tell you. They're trying to silence me.
Freedoms.
Freedom of speech. I will not lie down.
I will say that George Russell is a future world champion and no one can stop me.
How dare they?
I will say he will get wet this week. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I think I've just got the army at my door, so I'll be right back. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's what the plan is this week. We're going to do a quick overview of the British Grand Prix because I don't know, for any of the F1 listening public, there was maybe one or two things to talk about out of the British Grand Prix, just a couple of minor things.
Do you want to just touch on sprint qualifying?
Well, let's start qualifying. Obviously, I've got to say George Russell is the best British driver on the grid right now. But what did we make of sprint qualifying? What were our thoughts?
I mean, look, we kind of hit the nail on the head originally, didn't we? That there would be certain drivers that it certainly catered to and drivers who it did not. And I mean, I think we all kind of ended up roughly where we thought it would be, right? McLaren did quite well out of it. It certainly came up well for us. 5th, 6th. They also kind of got into, I will say the start was entertaining, but by 6-7 laps in, everyone had settled into their position and wasn't really wanting to change things too much.
Do you think it suffered because basically everyone apart from, or at least in that top half of the field, everyone ran medium tyres, apart from Alonso, who had that great start and then obviously his tyre
and then lost it, yeah.
But so there was no kind of strategy variable. It was just, and as we and probably when Perez went off, everyone went, oh shit, yeah, we've only got stuff to lose here.
Yeah, I think it very quickly came that there wasn't a whole lot to gain, but there was heaps to lose. I mean, look at Perez is the ultimate example that if it goes wrong in sprint qualifying, suddenly you're in a bit of trouble.
Starting in the pit lane. I don't think he was a fan of the old sprint race. Poor Sergio. It did not go well, and I think we touched on it, last week anyway, about how teams can attack it. There's definitely more to lose than there is to gain. You basically just want to you almost want to just stay in the same position you fucking qualified in.
Do you think as well that it kind of possibly could lead to a kind of a bigger or shine a light on something in the sport where, look, I'd imagine now Horner has already decided he doesn't like this after what happened to Sergio, but it's that does Mercedes not liking it or Red Bull not liking it mean more than Williams or Haas not liking it?
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Yes and no.
Undoubtedly.
Yes and no.
Because technically they all have the same number, they all have a vote, but I get the feeling Mercedes, as you said, Josh, Mercedes or Red Bull get listened to, or Ferrari get listened to. If Haas don't like it, tough.
In Formula One, all teams are equal. Some are just a lot more equal than others. Let's just say. And let me tell you, Christian Horner is probably the most equal of them all. I don't know if he's the most equal of them all or he's the biggest pain in the ass of them all. Because I imagine there'd be a fair amount of things the stewards are just like, look, just let him have it. Because, there's many a hill to die on. And
pick your battle.
Yeah, pick your battles because he's going to be a pain in the ass all year. And we appease him, we meet him halfway on a few of these things and he leaves us the fuck alone. Because my inbox just, is just Horner.
He's the one saying, he's like, I'm just following up from my previous email I sent 5 minutes ago. Have you had a chance to read it?
As per my last. Just wondering if we'd come to a agreement on this.
Why is Lewis Hamilton not kicked out the sport yet?
Yeah.
Regards, Horner.
Yeah.
But so do you think that was, I guess, kind of going forward, obviously we've got 2 or 3 left, I think, to go. But if this was the only one, do you think the format, do you think it kind of had enough in it to give it another run next year? Or do you, obviously it's early to tell, but do you think it moved the needle towards positive or towards negative? Jordan?
At this stage, I would say it was a positive because stuff happened. It was exciting. As Josh said, for the first 7 laps. But that's also very typical within normal racing anyway. There is that lull until something happens.
Yeah.
Or like the pit window opens.
It all happens off the start, then nothing. Pit window opens, it all happens again, nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the death.
Peaks and troughs.
Yeah, ups and down.
But I think they can't really make a assessment of this one because I think you'll see, obviously, the teams don't know how to tackle it. It's the first time they've ever done it. So I think you'll start to see in the next ones, maybe a little bit more differentiation. Yeah, correct. Basically, some other teams will try and mix it up and, almost do the Alonso, but make it work, I suppose. But,
and Silverstone's famous for not being I guess Silverstone's a tough track in that regard because
it's not a lot of overtaking occurs, and
also the tire. No one ever runs as soft in a race. So
because it's hot, it's in the middle of the year.
Yeah, is was worth a go, but it was a very low percentage of work.
Yeah, I think if you went to another track, another track, say earlier in the year, where you might be able to get, say, if you were able to get consistently, say, 13 or 14 laps out of a set of softs and only have them die at the end, suddenly that makes it a really entertaining race. They're dying with 4 laps to go, and then that's when you're hunting it down. Whereas here it was after 7 laps, you're like, oh, well, these tires are fucked now. I will say, and I like the concept of it. I really like I fell in love with the concept of having 3 days of spectator sport. Because as we know, like, you know, the practice 1 and 2 for the hardcore fans and whatnot, it's a great day to go to the track and kind of entertain that. But there's not a key driver there. So, you know, moving qualifying to the Friday, sprint qualifying to the Saturday, racing on the Sunday, I love it.
And I think for me, what I really like is keeping the OG, as it will now be called. I think you called it this last time, Josh, the OG qualifying. Keep that. I don't want to see sprint qualifying replace.
Yeah.
Where obviously they'd have to work out a way to get the starting grid up or something like that. But I don't want to see that replace it. But I like that, as you said, I think it's a good idea from the sports point of view to have, because people tune in for qualifying, people tune in for the race.
And I think
so it gives another day.
And I think the thing I don't like is awarding points for first, second, and third. I don't like that in the sprint qualifying because I think it just further broadens this gap between, you know, the top 2 teams and everyone else, and they're just, you know, getting more points more consistently. I would like to see maybe they have a rethink of how they award points for the sprint qualifying. If it's maybe, and I don't know if it's possible, like, you know, maybe it's based on positions gained or how you finish in reference to how you've qualified. Like, I don't know, you know, and far better minds
positions
than mine.
gained would work, unless it goes fucking post to post and no one gets any points.
Yeah, but you know, better minds than mine will figure these sort of things out. But I'd like to see a shake up of how they award points, because I don't think just giving first, second, and third more points is the answer.
Look, it would certainly be interesting, and by doing that, it would, you know, as you said, or the kind of what you mooted, would certainly push people to overtake and try new things. I get the feeling that, like, to get Mercedes and Red Bull buy-in, they need, like, because at the end of the day, if they're first, if you qualify on pole, you can't get any
points. Oh yeah,
so
and I think
they like to get them to buy in. I think that's like again. Mix it up. I guess that's the beauty of the format, is they don't have any rules to follow. It's not been done like this for however many years. But I have the feeling they're going to need something.
100%. For me, the 3-2-1 works. And the reason why it's there is they're trying to give small amount of points to those top teams who come first, second, and third. So when it comes down to the wire of the end of the season and a championship that isn't ran away by Lewis Hamilton, those 3-2-1s can really make a difference, especially in the constructors. It's very much like the fastest lap scenario. You know, that extra point is just trying to, you know, give a competitive advantage to the person that's either chasing the leader, I suppose.
Yeah, well,
and you look what Red Bull did.
I think there's some room to fiddle with it. You know, there's some room to work the concept, but I really like the concept.
So you're complaining, but you're not complaining.
Yeah, well,
sounds like Josh.
It's got to be right. There's always something to complain about, isn't there?
Attaboy.
Yeah, play to your strengths, mate. Play to your strengths.
So, any more on sprint quali, or we're going to talk about the incident?
No, look, enjoyed it. It was good. Perez crashing was sad. Otherwise, off we go.
Yeah, well, we might have to fill the void while Hamish is unfreezing himself.
Fill the void while Hamish is working on his internet connection. I think the good people of the inner west just, you know, don't get to live the highlights like I do in the West. Maybe he's back. He needs to get Nicola off the Olympics.
Yeah,
apologies,
exactly.
Everyone. I'm yet to get my my internet enhancing jab, so that's in the pipeline to get me some sweet 5G 5G network.
Well,
onto the race, Hamish.
Onto the race. Well, I feel like this race was basically defined by the incident between Lewis and Max going into the first corner. I mean, for me,
sixth corner.
Yeah. The racing at the start before the incident was unreal. Was great. Some cracking racing. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go straight to it. Really, who are we blaming for that?
Well, I know what my fellow compadre will be saying. So I'll say my piece before Josh goes on a rant about how Hamilton's a cunt and he hates him. So I don't mind the fact that they were hard racing. If we're going to start stopping them from racing, then why the fuck are we even bothering with Formula One? Yes, he put his nose where you shouldn't. Like if it smells like shit, it's probably shit. But at the end of the day, there was an opportunity there to overtake. Could he have gone onto the inside apex more? And obviously, Max left him enough space. Yes, but he is also going, 200 odd kilometers an hour. And it's probably not as easy as we think as just touch the apex, bro. Like fucking, just turn in a little bit more. So I understand that I would have been happy if it was a racing incident. And I am happy that the stewards said that it was a 10-second penalty. It's a big penalty. And once again, Hamilton showed his racing ability to fucking end up winning that race. To chase down Charles within those 3 laps that fucking, he was not very close at all. And to, gain fucking 5 seconds in 3 laps, that's fucking impressive. But that just shows the Mercedes in clean air when there's fucking no one around them, what that Mercedes can do, which is what we've obviously been saying all season is that, once the car is made for clean air, when there's people in front of them, it seems to that
seems to gets in a bit of an issue. Yeah,
exactly. But look, it fucked Max's race up. Obviously, it was a big crash. I'm glad he's okay because he would have been fucking very winded after that.
51 Gs, I think I heard. It was the G force was 51 Gs, which is hefty.
Yeah. He was very lucky not to be injured at all. $1.3 million in repairs for Red Bull. So, look, I do understand that there's if anyone was to blame, it was Hamilton. But in my personal opinion, I love racing. I like hard racing. And if you're going to take that away from them, I don't want to borrow it.
Can I ask you a quick question, Jordan? Do you think that if you changed those cars from Max being hit by Hamilton to, say, Ocon being hit by Kimi, are we happy with a 10-second? I guess has this been, because I think my opinion was it doesn't feel like enough of a penalty, 10 seconds for basically ruining your main rival's race. But when you've made your point there, it's starting to make me think, am I kind of more upset because it was Max being taken out by Lewis as opposed to if it was 2 midfield cars, do I think that 10 seconds is fine? Do you think that's played into it, the reaction?
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously 10 seconds for a midfield team completely fucks their race. 10 seconds for Hamilton still gives him an opportunity to win that race.
Yeah.
So but you can't have one penalty for one driver or one team and one penalty for the other. That's just not the way the FIA rolls.
FIA.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. And nor should there be. It should be, uniform penalties across. But
agreed.
Look.
Here we go. Strap yourselves in, guys.
Strap yourselves in. No, look. I think
Get your pitchforks out.
No, but like you said, I enjoy hard racing as well. And that first kind of 6 laps through of the jostling and the tossing and turning, you're like, this is why I love it. This is what I love watching. This is great. But you got to say Hamilton, number one, there was plenty of room there. There wasn't a space. There wasn't a door there, I wouldn't say. And it was a pretty bad crash in a very high-speed corner. It was a dangerous maneuver. This wasn't some low-speed cutting in fright and he's clipped him and spun him. This was a full throttle trying to put his car where it didn't belong. And don't get me wrong, we love that sort of racing, but we also have to be mindful of the risks of when it goes wrong. Because it did go, that could have easily caused, that could have, Max is very lucky. 31 Gs at 200 and something Ks slamming into a wall is...
That car only has to flip a little bit and he is, instead of going into the side, he's now going
flipping into the barrier. Yeah.
So I could have easily gone wrong.
So I think you do need to take into account that, and I don't know if a 10-second penalty is enough to discourage that. A 10-second penalty for someone who can go on to win the race, I don't know if that's enough to discourage that sort of that sort of stuff overall to everyone. Because I guess the idea is to, it's happened here. It's to penalise someone enough that other drivers don't think that that's an acceptable manoeuvre to try to make. Because Lewis and Verstappen are probably the two best drivers on the grid, and if they're going to get it wrong, imagine fucking Alonso. Imagine people in the midfield trying to do the same thing and getting it done in a position that is dangerous and are going wrong there. Again, I think you have to look at it from the precedent it kind of sets, that if that's only a 10-second penalty, there's not as much of that's not much of a deterrent to stop someone trying that sort of maneuver in other places. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't try that maneuver. I love hard racing and they should be able to get through it, but they should, you're racing at 200 Ks an hour. You do have to think about safety and health and how you're getting through things.
I do think I think it is kind of, as we're saying, I think certainly the way I'm viewing the penalty is because it was Lewis on the first lap, 10 seconds, as you guys have said, I think for me, it's the fact that he still had a chance to win the race.
Yeah.
And he could have easily lost a front wing there. He could have got a puncture, but it's this very kind of specific scenario where Lewis seemed to get away from that unscathed while he was pushed behind Leclerc. But I don't think any of us really thought that Leclerc was as good as he is at just holding on to anything. I don't think any of us really thought that Leclerc was going to last. None of us really thought he was viably going to win the race. Because if that's 5 laps to go,
I honestly, when there was 3 laps to go, I was like, "Holy fuck!" As I said, I think it was 5 seconds, 3 laps to go. I'm like, he could be the one. Yeah, he could be the one to take Ferrari to the promised land. And great, another Italian fucking team battering England. Brilliant.
On home soil.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you think as well there's a bit of, maybe I'll just say it for me, I won't put words in you guys' mouths. I think for me, what kind of annoys me or frustrates me about the whole thing as well is kind of Hamilton's carry-on.
Yeah.
He got out as though he carried on after the race as though he'd bloody won the Drivers' Championship,
Hardest race ever.
Oh, and it's Max had done ya and had consistent, had defended you. And could you imagine if the roles were reversed, Hamilton would have thrown all of the toys. He would have gone to Toys R Us, bought all of the toys,
and then thrown them out
into his pram and then thrown them out to make, he would have carried on so much. And I think that's what annoys me is that he's just it's a racing incident. And at the end of the day, as you said, I think it did deserve a penalty, but I don't. Yeah, we want to encourage that kind of racing. We want people to it was just a very specific set of circumstances where high speed, start of the race, has a major impact on the championship. Yeah, that's why it's been viewed in such a high light. I do think if it was Maisie spin on Schumacher, people, we wouldn't have
talking about it
for 20 minutes or whatever.
If it's fucking Giovinazzi on Schumacher, do we talk about it?
It doesn't get the same kind of microscope put on it.
Yeah,
but
and the 10 seconds would have been more than enough.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Because at that point, that puts them into last. Like at that point, a 10-second penalty puts you into last place. Whereas here,
there's no fucking way in hell there's no way they're going to even get a chance of getting a point at that stage.
But applied to Hamilton here, it made it probably a more interesting race at the end than it probably would have been otherwise. But I don't think it was ever really in doubt.
But speaking of Hamilton's toy store, Christian Horner, he was definitely a loyal customer of that toy store because he's still carrying on about it now. I was watching practice last night and he's still going on about it.
I mean,
he will just not let it die.
Well, look, to be fair, they ended up taking no points, which, makes it very difficult. And if you take no points from a race at this point in the season, that fucking hurts.
Especially when Perez missed out.
He got fastest lap, but he doesn't get a point for it.
I will say, if the last thing we touch on is Red Bull pitting Perez from 10th, possibly could have gotten into 9th position just to take the fastest lap out of Hamilton and to receive no points and on aggregate, move further away but take the fastest lap of Hamilton, I'm here for that sort of shithousery.
That has Christian Horner written all over it.
I am here for the Horner call. Horner would have stood up and gone, bring him in, put him on the softs. He would have stood up in the pit lane with 3 laps to go and just looked over at Mercedes and gone, fuck him, bring Perez in, put him on the softs.
Looking Toto dead in the eyes.
Yeah.
Just pressing the button, just bring him in.
Yeah,
now.
Bring him in and put him on the softs. I don't care if we finish dead last. Make sure he gets the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
Take fuel out of the car. Take fuel out of the car. I want enough for one hot lap.
Pipe.
That's it. I don't care if he doesn't finish the race. I want enough for one hot lap. Get him back out there.
Oh gosh.
If anyone can suck petrol out of a car, Jerry can.
Oh my days! I feel like we should just stop the pod forever there. I don't think it's going to. Can we get better than that? I don't know.
This is it. We've made it, lads.
The promised land. Why do I see light?
Am I dying?
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we're going to be talking about it for some time because that's
Horner will make sure we talk about it for some time.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a huge turning point in the championship.
Yeah.
Hamilton getting the 25 points, fucking
Bottas getting 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it, 40-point swing. That's a big swing in anyone's language.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we want to just kind of touch quickly on our various teams over the weekend? What were your thoughts on McLaren's showing at Silverstone? I'd imagine, taking a little guess here, that you guys would be pretty happy with that.
Look, you got to be happy with a fourth, fifth. They did get into that, they got into that groove that we've kind of expected them to be in, where they were racing a bit in no man's land, per se. Not many people around them, just running their race at their pace. They're never going to catch the top 3. Sainz was, they got Sainz, was hanging around there, but not too far off. But yeah, you got to be happy.
Danny Rick's best finish for McLaren. and he still doesn't beat Lando. So look, let's be real. But he defended against Sainz like he showed his experience. It was really like Sainz was really attacking him.
Yeah, he did show a bit of class there. A bit of class, just holding him off.
Look, I'm willing to say, like, you know, some other drivers, aka Bottas, he ain't defending that.
Or he just lets him through to fuck his teammate.
Exactly.
But yeah, look, you got to be happy with it. It's good from a team perspective. It was good from a Damien Rick perspective. He did well. He did exactly what he needed to do to just, you know, get him a bit out of the funk and get him back on the right direction. So no complaints here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, correct. I guess Ferrari having a good weekend wasn't great for a McLaren perspective, but you know, Leclerc is a good driver, man. He's a really fucking good driver.
And he seems to be getting a lot out of that car. Like, he seems to be able to be getting a lot out of that car. And Sainz hasn't been, I wouldn't say he's like not performing well, but Leclerc is just somehow wrangling that car into places that it has no right to be. Like that car has like that Ferrari, I'm sorry, has no right to be 8 laps from the end, be leading the race and having led the race for almost from
since the sixth corner.
Yeah. Like it has no right to be there, and he's somehow just getting it out of it. And he put it into a position where he's like, yeah, look, Hamilton's going to catch me in the end, but I'm getting second.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And if you look at Sainz's progression year on year from his start at Toro Rosso, he's getting more and more points.
I did say that highest points tally in his career after this many races.
And you'd say, and I'd go as far to say is he's definitely the best driver that's adapted to their new team this year. He's fit into that Ferrari system very, very seamlessly. And I think Ferrari couldn't ask for too much more out of him at the moment, I'd say.
No, I'd have to agree there. Does seem to be just the kind of guy he is, Carlos. He's just easy to like and easy to get on with.
The enforcer.
Rightio, everyone. Time to get a beer. I'm going to have a little whinge about. Speaking of Sainz, actually, as well. Look, George has to be kind of disappointed there with the three place grid penalty that came out of the sprint race. I'm obviously massively one-eyed. Thought it was maybe a bit harsh. It does 3 grid places equal 5 seconds? Because I think that's probably what the penalty would have got in the race. And so then, but look, 12th and then Latifi in 14th, obviously helped by Perez hitting. But again, I thought that I was going to get my prediction right, but we're moving in the right direction, I think is all I'll have to say. All I have to say on that one. Also, it can't go unsaid because it's part of our show terms and conditions. Just good to see Vettel spinning for no apparent reason again. Just seemingly no pressure. Yeah, that's it. So I've got to mention that.
I think honourable mention to Alpine. You know, double points. They would definitely be happy with that.
Yeah, brings it back into that kind of fifth to
that third tier, the third tier of teams.
And then my biggest disappointment of the weekend was Gasly. You're sort of expecting him to be in that 7th, 8th position, and he didn't even make it into the points. So,
he struggled. He certainly struggled,
especially with that Honda power.
That's sweet Honda power.
That's sweet Honda power.
And it's good enough to do it. So I think that moves us on to the results of the prediction game.
Oh, brilliant.
to finalise the British Grand Prix. So, Josh, I'm gonna have to read out your results first this week.
That doesn't sound good for me.
It's not the best for you. So in qualifying, you went Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas for 4 points.
Good start.
In the sprint race,
yeah, I like that.
In the sprint race, you went Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, which also got you 4 points. And then in the race, you went Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, which got you 1 point. Your best of the rest, your love of Norris has really unfortunately cost you this week. Your best of the rest was Norris on 2 points. Your bold prediction of no points for Bottas, unfortunately, was a strikeout.
Are you giving him 2 points for Norris?
Best of the rest. Oh, Leclerc.
I feel like Leclerc's...
No.
I'm not letting you have that, mate. I'm sorry.
Well, we all had Lando as best of the rest, so it doesn't actually change things a great deal.
Just -2 off everyone's score.
Yeah. So that got you a total of 9 points for this week.
Tough week.
What's going to make it even more tough is what happened. What Jordan got. You're up next. In qualifying, Jordan, you went Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for 6 points plus a bonus 5. So you've already outscored Josh for the week. In the sprint race, you went Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez for 4 points. And in the race, you went Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, also for 4 points. Your best of the rest was Lando for nothing. Your bold prediction of no points for Ferrari also was a strikeout. And your fastest lap was Hamilton for 0 points, which scored you a total of 19. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I think, Hamish, didn't you get 2 perfect rounds in a row?
Jordan, I'm so glad you said that. I won this week, and I'm now back interested in the prediction game. In qualifying, I went Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for 6 points plus a bonus 5. In the sprint race, I went Max, Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas for another 6 points plus another bonus 5. And then in the race, I went Hamilton, Max, Perez for 2 points. My best of the rest was Lando, which didn't get anything. My bold prediction of Russell in the points was also a strikeout, and my fastest lap was Hamilton. So I got a total of 19. Sorry, I didn't. I got 24 points.
It's a good haul, mate. That's almost a race win.
It's a big haul.
That's a big haul, big points haul.
So the updated standings are Josh is currently now in third on 89 points. I am in second. There's some nice symmetry here. I'm in second on 99 points. And Jordan is in first on 109 points.
I thought Josh was clawing it back at some stage.
I was.
I believe he said the comeback was on.
The comeback was on until it...
I'm setting a grueling pace, and you guys just can't keep up, mate. All right?
It's really come undone.
Well, do we want to... Let's move on to the Hungarian Grand Prix, which we've already had practice of this week. So,
do you want to tell the listeners who's won P1, practice 1 and practice 2?
Yeah,
can do.
Yeah, so I think Verstappen won P1.
He did with a blistering time, actually.
Yeah, and then Bottas won P2. But,
Bottas was also second in P1. So maybe Bottas has got the bug. He's back.
No, he'll fucking
incorrect.
No, I don't think so.
Normally, FP2 is for listeners is normally a reflection of qualifying pace.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing is, we've all been saying if you look at his practice times across this year, he's consistently either beating Hamilton or around that top 3, and then it gets to the Saturday, Sunday, and they forget to put the right fuel in his car, or they do like doing that. Fucking drive.
Yeah. And I mean, you just don't, even if he did qualify on pole, you wouldn't trust him to do anything with it anyway.
Exactly. Especially if Hamilton's next to him in second, because you just know he's going to pit him off the line.
Just, yeah.
Actually, I would say it works more for Hamilton to qualify second because he just knows he can mentally fuck his way into first without actually having to race.
Yeah, second's ideal when Bottas is on pole for him.
Oh, undoubtedly.
But then again, even when he's on pole and Bottas is next to him, that's still
He
okay.
still can't do fuck of anything.
Still a win for Hamilton. I guess Hungary is normally a track that Mercedes have a good record at. So, and they've brought these upgrades as well. So, do you see them kind of taking the fight a bit more to Red Bull, or possibly kind of getting the edge back?
I do, and the practice times we've seen so far certainly indicate that. It is meant to be very hot, though, from what they've said. That is
true. And we know that Mercedes
there is meant to be the heat. And if it gets caught in traffic, I think if somehow Verstappen can get him qualifying second, he'll, cause a bit of havoc for them, because when they're put under pressure under the high heat, the car seems to struggle a little bit. So I think there's certainly an opportunity there. Mercedes need a front row lockout. I think they need to lock out that front row and get away well, and I think they'll cruise. But I think if Verstappen can somehow wrangle his way into second and be on that front grid, I think they could struggle.
Yeah.
Pirelli will be sweating if it's going to be hot.
Was this where Mercedes had found their problems, or it was the Red Bull ring? Yeah. They found their struggle in the heat.
And high altitude seem to do a number on them. But yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
And you think Max is going to be super motivated to bounce back well. But he would have probably penciled that in for a win starting on pole.
He'll certainly want it.
What's the odds on him fucking, suicide bombing Hamilton? Just literally first corner, just,
I twitched, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm just turning left really quickly.
Just literally channeling his inner Kvyat and just full fucking torpedoing it. Just like, oh, there's a corner there. Oh, Hamilton's turning. I'm not. Playing a bit of
the final scene in Need for Speed where he just just foot to the floor staring at him.
Yeah, exactly right. Looking him dead in the eyes.
You know what? If you'd asked me that 2 years ago, I said he definitely would have done it. But I feel like, unfortunately, he's not the crash Stappen we used to love.
It's crazy that we used to call him that, right? It seems bizarre that he's matured, I suppose. And you look at his driving style now as well. He's actually quite controlled, and he doesn't do his fucking 6 moves to defend. He's not sticking that nose in fucking dodgy places because, he in seasons past, he was a very tough person to get past because of how erratic he was with his defending.
Yeah, I genuinely think people were scared to go past him. It was from the point of view of who knows what he's going to do.
Get past him as quickly as possible and hope he doesn't rip into you as you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to give us your thoughts on what you expect from McLaren this week? Obviously, probably the not quite the pace you'd have hoped for in practice so far, but given your guys' record so far this year, you'd like to think they'd be able to turn that around.
Yeah,
at least?
I think they'll be able to wrangle a little bit in the race, certainly. But yeah, they seem to have been down a little bit on pace before then, and a little bit could be that Mercedes power unit, which has tended to struggle with its cooling in the heat. But look, I think judging by the teams, the only one that concerns me is the Alpine, who've shown some pace in practice, whereas both the Ferraris have been about the same level as us. So yeah, I think they'll be on. I think they'll do well again if they can get out of the pack and get a little bit of fresh air. They should be able to cool down pretty well.
I tell you what, the worst words that come out of your mouth is the word us.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Us.
There is no we.
Us.
There is no
we.
us.
Collective.
McLaren forever.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Like if P2 is something to go by, McLaren could be in a bit of strife, but I have utmost faith in Norris.
That's good.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. The 28th win's kicking in, boys. I'm back.
Woo! Who do you guys think will be it? Sorry, would you got any more on McLaren, George?
Look, it's very much a rinse and repeat, and I think we're going to be saying it week in, week out. You know what I mean? It's going to be we expect a 4th, 5th.
Yeah,
race.
Like anything less than 4th or 5th is, you would say, probably like we should be up there, around there.
We.
Yeah,
we.
There it is again.
You can say that in my head, the Hungaro-Ring has some overtaking opportunities. It's normally not a bad race.
Yeah, it's not a bad race.
So
we don't mind Hungary.
Don't qualify the best, there's still a chance if you can find some race pace.
You can get away with it. Yeah,
move
100%.
your way at least, bit higher up in the grid. Who do you guys see as the biggest surprise packet out of Aston and Alpine, who have both shown an improvement on normal service?
I think Josh touched on it. I think it's going to be Alpine. After a stellar performance last week, I feel backing it up again, they could, really take it to, your Aston and your AlphaTauri and, really make sure that they lock in or at least compete for that fucking 5th spot.
Well, because I guess Aston will have the same problem you guys do, that without Mercedes power. So,
yeah, but that's the thing is, I don't think they really have been using that power too well. You know what I mean?
They've got it stored up for this week.
Exactly. Well, they might need to, mate. They definitely might need to. I think it's Alpine that will. I think they'll get double points again. I don't know if that's a bold prediction, but you can write it down if you want. And then I would like to see Ferrari struggle. That'd be nice as a McLaren fan. But obviously, if you're a part of the Tifosi, well, I don't fucking know what they call them, those bunch of losers. They'll obviously want them to do well. Sainz and Leclerc can obviously wrangle a decent position on any given track. It's just they're good. Two very good drivers.
They're two very good drivers who can get pretty close to what is possible out of that car.
A whole lot of something out of a whole lot of nothing.
Absolutely.
How do you think Williams are going to go, mate? Give us your rundown. Give us your bit.
I was going to brutally crowbar my opinion about Williams into this conversation anyway. So I do appreciate you asking. I'm going to cast your minds back. The Hungaro-Ring was the original Mr. Saturday performance from George Russell. I think this was the first time he ever made Q2 at this track. So I've got a little feeling that he likes it here. Absolutely.
Are you saying definitively?
You know what? I've actually got to the point where I'm disappointed with the odds on Sportsbet or any other gambling company that you would like to choose.
Always gamble responsibly.
Absolutely.
Listeners, please.
And by that, I mean put all of your money on George Russell to score a point every week. But it's not paying a lot. It's only paying like $1.60. And I'm like, this guy can't score a point in the Williams. He's like fundamentally cursed. But I mean, likes the track, I feel. I think because remember as well for Russell, which is something we haven't touched about this week, but all the rumours were that he was going to be announced by Mercedes at Silverstone, and it hasn't happened. So does that start playing on his mind? Is he going to be motivated? I mean, it can work kind of a multitude of ways. But look, Latifi, if he gets anything better than 18th, well done. Have a chocolate. Like, I genuinely it's very hard to get excited about anything Latifi does, particularly as I've said a million times that he's not following the same. Like, it makes me nervous that the car is not getting that much better. It's Russell is that good, because if Latifi and Russell were going together, then the car's getting good. But it's like the car is improving or Haas is getting worse. But yeah.
Now you know how I feel with Norris and Ricciardo.
It's just the dead weight in your team that you really just want to jettison. That's exactly how I feel there.
I think that's a bit harsh, if I'm honest.
Oh no, like it's really nice to get a fifth or a sixth like every 4 weeks. That's does keeps the bills paid.
Yeah, I think the only exciting thing about Latifi is that check that
the check that just keeps on rolling in.
Yeah,
that doesn't bounce every week.
Yeah, the check that's never bounced, and that is a nice thing.
Oh yeah, I could only imagine. I mean, it would blind me to a lot of things, like really below par driving ability. But any more? Do we want to touch on any? I feel like we've talked about the main teams we normally talk about. Kimi had practice one off. Let he who must not be named drive around again. Giga Kubica. Again, I don't see them doing too much, particularly if Ferrari are seemingly struggling for pace. Then kind of the logic dictates that Alfa Romeo will probably also follow suit. But do we want anything else to mention on the race?
No.
In terms of our preview?
I think that covers most of it.
Excellent. Well, let's dive into the qualification, the prediction game. Don't know quite where qualification was, truth be told. Josh, you get to go first this time.
Lovely. Thank you.
Because you suck.
Thank you. Yes.
Up to the T, Josh Ford.
Yes, thank you. Quiet in the gallery. Yes. So in qualifying, I believe I'll be going Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. In the race.
Nice safe bet.
In the race, I'll be going Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. I've changed my strategy. Say ones and twos. Yes.
Are you actually not going to mention Perez in this whole prediction?
No.
Are you feeling all right?
I'm not at all.
It's a confirmed case.
I'm going to believe. And then for my best of the rest, I'm going to go
Perez.
Actually, I'm actually going to shake things up.
Score a point.
I'm going to go Leclerc.
Nice following from last week. Smart.
Work off what you think, and then
it's not a reflective of future performance or something like that.
My bold prediction, though, based off that, is McLaren to outscore Ferrari.
Interesting.
Is that a fair enough bold prediction in the context of that I went best in the rest for Leclerc?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Hey, I just thought I'd check.
Because if Leclerc gets second, you're fucked.
Yeah, then I'm fucked. But see, I'm banking on like a fourth.
Could you get
fifth.
Third? Yeah.
He gets a fifth, we're on.
Yeah, you're that far behind. We'll just give you anything. Fastest lap?
Fastest lap, I'm going to go Hamilton.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Next up to the T is yours truly. So in qualifying, I'm going to go Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas. No, actually, I'm not. I was going to say it first. I'm going to go Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas. And then in the race, I'm going to go Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez. That in the heat, baby, that engine, Mercedes engine is going to cook. So my best of the rest, I think, is going to be. I'm going to go a bit of a curveball. I'm going to go Ocon. I'm going to follow you in with Alpine and their joy. And then the bold prediction is going to be Russell to get points. And my fastest lap will be Perez. Not entirely sure why.
Perez is your fastest lap. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you on fucking heroin? Are you on fucking heroin, cunt?
Lockdown does things to people, okay? I've had to get some tar on my spoon and just to see what it's like.
The
You
smearing
basically say Perez for everything.
the smearing of feces is commenced.
Like, have you started
Absolutely.
smearing feces on the wall?
Mostly mine, yeah. I mean, sometimes the dogs, if I'm struggling, like, you gotta adapt. Adapt and overcome these tough times.
The missus isn't a fan of it yet, but she'll come around.
Yeah, they usually don't mind it by the end.
I've started in the study, which she doesn't seem to come in too much. So
the smell's starting to like drift into the lounge room now, so she might be suspecting something.
Slowly. It's slowly starting to drift in.
Correct. Is Hamish done for his predictions?
I think so. I think he's pretty well done.
Well, we'll have to see when he eventually comes back.
When he comes back. I assume he needs to invest in new internet. Like, the good people of the inner west just running off those old copper cables.
It's quite nice just being able to have a conversation, just you and I, for,
You know what? It is pleasant not having to talk about Williams all the time.
For, a 30-second break,
Yeah, because honestly, fucking hell.
Oh,
So-
and he's good.
And now
Dear me. Well, I guess while we're on it, I'll talk about F2.
oh, yes.
Sean?
There is F2.
There isn't.
Isn't there? When was the last? Wasn't there a F2 recently?
Yeah, in Silverstone there was. But the next one is in Monza. So
when's that?
Monza, 10th of September, I think it is.
September.
Yeah. So it's still quite a bit away. They don't really do these like as regularly at all. But you'd be nice to know, lads, that your boy from Australia is now leading the F2 ladder.
Leading the F2.
Piastri is now. He's now leading.
He's now in it.
He's now leading. You've got to remember, Zhao missed out on the Baku races, so Zhao's still there. It's only a 6-point lead, 5-point lead. Sorry, quick maths. But yeah, last week let me try and recall. I know Zhao won one of them, and then two of the people that I've never heard of won the rest. So
thank you, Jordan, for your F2 quarter.
Yes.
And introducing out of nowhere,
Special
reserve
guest,
driver
And out of lockdown.
special guest appearance.
looking the best out of all of us.
Yeah.
Isn't he
You
just
guys?
looking
How are we?
sharp?
Not nearly as disheveled as the rest of us.
I've had a couple of days extra out of lockdown, so it's good.
He's had a haircut.
Oh, I don't know. This is the grown out from the shade. So need to go skinhead again, full Wayne Rooney.
How are you, Oliver?
Yeah, it's good, mate. How are you guys doing? Just thought I'd check in.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, mate.
Yeah.
Living the dream. Have any? Do you want to jump in on some predictions for Hungary?
Are you gonna
Absolutely, mate.
I've got you written down.
Yeah, give us your special guest appearance. Give him the run through, Hamish. Give him the wrangle him like you do me and Jordan.
Ollie,
Yes.
no
Probably
doubt
was
wanting
right.
to catch Josh's mediocre score currently. Why don't you give us your qualifying standings?
I've only got to get one right, haven't I? And I'm already set.
Yeah,
you won't be far off.
Yeah, excellent. Look, quali, I reckon I'm going to go Hamilton, Verstappen, and then Perez. I think Bottas.
Yes. Yes.
Music to our ears.
I don't think Bottas is going to get it done.
Yes. Fuck Bottas, long live Perez.
Yeah.
Says the guy who picked Perez to come second.
Well, so for the race though, I don't think Perez will do very well. I think Perez will get played. He'll be another victim of a Horner strategy mistake, I think, is my bold prediction there.
Ooh.
Love it. All about that.
Love it.
Perez
I'm
to
here
get
for
no
that.
points. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Perez to get no points, and I'd like a bonus point if it's a Horner fuck up as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
hey, I'm here for that.
Horner's just so still upset about the whole investigation that he's like, just can't make
Completely
rational
forgot about strategy. Yeah.
Because of his
having
homework.
Just having Nam flashbacks over and over again.
Poor Jerry must have copped it this week.
Oh, she's black and blue, mate, honestly. Did you say who you're going to win? The race one.
Yeah, your race standings.
Race standings. I want Max to win, so I'm going to go Max. And then I'm going to go Hamilton second because it's just the logical choice, really. I think third, I'm going to go Norris. Maintain that consistency, I think. Becoming a top 3 driver.
Logical guessing, like predictions. We don't do that here.
Nah,
They tend not to get a big run on the unplanned pit stop, if I'm brutally honest.
It's all about making snap decisions a second before you say anything.
Shoot from the hip, eyes closed, nothing can hurt you. It's good. It's a bold strategy.
I did think of just spinning a wheel and just seeing what it landed on.
Yeah.
I didn't think like Mazepan third or some shit.
No, come on, Ollie. Come on now.
Yeah.
Watch it happen.
So that mean your best of the rest will be Norris then, I assume?
Yeah, as always.
We just need a fastest lap from you, please.
Fastest lap, I'm going to go Gasly. I think he's got it in him.
Bit of that sweet, sweet Honda power.
About time the French got something right.
After they beat Team GB in the sevens, but that's a different story.
I've got to get our own back. But enough about the Olympics. This isn't an Olympics podcast, Hamish.
No.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, actually, do you think we could see motorsport in the Olympics?
No.
I mean, it helps that Britain have a lot of drivers, so we would probably win a medal.
You'd probably do all right.
Yeah, and you've got to develop your car.
Would you have to have a British, like would every component have to be British as well? Like every single component of the car, of the team, like you have everything like that?
I would say no, only because, like cyclists and canoeists can get their shit from wherever.
It shows you the wide range of Josh's betting over the last 2 weeks that he actually knows that canoeing is an Olympic sport.
There's actually canoeing and kayaking, just so you know, in the slalom
on the same multi.
And multi. Let me tell you, I know the differences between them now.
Shut the fuck up. Just shut up. I hate it so much. I hate it. No, I don't think I can't see motorsport being in the Olympics. But my predictions are as followed: qualifying. You ready for this, boysies? Bottas.
Speaking
Hamilton.
of heroin, did you steal some of mine, or
yeah, mate, it's good stuff. It's nice to know you can handle your brown. Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen.
Yep.
Race: Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
Sorry, what was that? Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Verstappen.
Yeah.
Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Cool. Your best of the rest
will be Carlos Sainz.
Ooh.
And I think my bold prediction was already
as well. Alpine double points.
Yeah. My fastest lap will be Bottas.
Lovely. Well, Ollie, I believe this is just increasing the McLaren love in now. This is it's obviously your first jump in the car for the season, getting some miles under your belt. Do you want to give us a bit of your thoughts about McLaren so far? Your thoughts, your feelings, and your thoughts for them for the weekend.
Oh, it's nice they've got a very clear number one driver now. That's been a very nice part of this season for me.
Who the fuck invited him in? He's a fucking stitch up.
The door was wide open. I just clicked the link.
I've never seen money move between Zoom screens from Jordans to Ollie's.
I'm loving it. Can we have him in every week? Because this is the sort of shit I love.
Can we play you? Can we play you? No, but it's been really nice seeing McLaren up there, back where they belong, really. But it's nice that it's a young English driver, firstly. Like, obviously, a bit biased there, but just any young driver is nice to see him taking on those bigger boys with just the cash behind him. Like, yeah, Verstappen's young, but Christ, he's in borderline the second best car on the field too. And it's just awesome to see Norris, essentially play with the big boys with, a car that's clearly not as quick, and he's still putting it on the right spot every time.
Third in the driver's standings.
Yeah,
exactly it. Like, he can't ask for more than that. He's only going to get better.
It would have taken a very bold prediction, bolder than any of us have probably ever made, to guess that Lando was going to make this kind of improvement.
Yeah,
like, I think we all knew, everyone knew he was a good driver, and everyone saw him kind of improving. But to go where he's gone this season, it's certainly been impressive, and probably took a lot of people by surprise.
Definitely, couldn't agree more.
And has the lovely G, has she changed from her thoughts on Charles Leclerc? Is he still number one in her eyes, or?
It depends if he's putting out or not, really.
Yeah.
If he is, then yes.
Yeah.
I think Charles has definitely taken a back seat. Going to Ferrari definitely has not helped his case with George. I think she was a bit of an alpha lovely when he was there. So, yeah.
Alpha definitely is just it's a cool team.
It is.
Partly helped by Kimi. Yeah. Yeah. And so what was your thoughts as well? Get your thoughts, Ollie, on the obviously the biggest talking point since the Silverstone Grand Prix and the whole Lewis-Max incident. We've kind of had our thoughts on this before earlier in the episode, that probably 10 seconds is fair, but there's probably some mitigating circumstances around that, as and the way kind of Hamilton carried on, and probably would have carried on if he was the one shunted. What were your thoughts on the incident as a whole, and how much of it was Hamilton's fault?
Exactly. It's definitely Lewis's fault, let's be honest here. I think 10 seconds was probably not enough. However, the precedent was set that 10 seconds is what was going to be handed out. So it was almost the steward's fault, if anything, in regards to the penalty not fitting the crime, because, they'd set the wrong precedent. But overall, a 10-second penalty on lap one, like, he was always going to win it anyway. He wins by 30 seconds when Max isn't in the game. So all he has to do is take him out and he's away. So, for me, definitely Lewis in the wrong. And it was Perez as well. He had the same. Was it Perez you got two as well? In the same race, he got pinged 5 seconds as well.
Yeah.
I think that was
10 previously.
Yeah. Previously, that was in Hungary. Austria.
Yeah, sorry. But that's what I mean by the precedent set there.
True.
They just whacked on 5 seconds there and went, no, it's all right. You can run people off the track there. I did see a funny Gunther Steiner quote. It was definitely a fake one, I think. It was pretty much saying, if you only need to knock them off, then it takes 190 seconds, and then you just knock them all off the track and away you go. You just win. I definitely think Max should feel aggrieved. And to be fair, it was a fair old whack. I think, to be honest, the main reason Max cracked the shits, and this is from the outside, I don't have Max's phone number, but you can imagine that would be pretty terrifying, being knocked off the track and going, shit, I was nearly cooked there. And you think that the other bloke did it on purpose. You're obviously going to see red. So I think that's obviously another factor that no one's really given Max the benefit of the doubt on, in that, that would have been absolutely fucking terrifying.
I think that he actually handled it pretty well. Like, he was I haven't seen him really carry on as much as I thought he would. It's more
he's
being
definitely
Horner.
right to be improved. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's more Horner that's gone to the Hamilton toy store and thrown all the toys out, but could have been a lot worse.
That would be interesting if he thinks that he actually did it kind of on purpose, or maybe didn't move like as much as he could have. I mean, there's obviously no way we'll ever know, but it's a hard, and again, as Jordan's kind of said before, it's very hard, easy to make judgments on this. It's very hard for them to make adjustments at 200 k's an hour, because there's a lot of high speed corners around Silverstone. There's not a lot of like severe braking and accelerating out. They're kind of flying through these very fluid curves. But
Maggots and Beckett's.
Actually, that's something we didn't talk about. Just a quick one. Is it the best named racetrack in the world? I just have all of the corner.
There's
names.
some good names.
It just gets me tingling in the special places.
It's either that or Monaco, like Rascasse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it is quite funny how like, and he's coming through flying in Maggots and Beckett's into Cox. Like, what?
Anyone watching F1 for the first time is like, what is this?
I'm watching a weird porno. What's going on?
No, honey, it's fine.
Don't come in.
Oh my gosh, F1. It's worse than I thought.
Shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's time to get our weekly Gunther Steiner quote of the week.
You fucking look like rock stars, huh? And now we are a fucking bunch of wankers. Yeah, bunch of fucking clowns here.
And so I tell you what, you're gonna work out pretty quickly why I chose this particular quote from Gunther. So we're gonna jump straight in. Hats off to George for what he is doing in the car at the moment. He was doing well last year. I hope our drivers are as good as George in the second and third year. He has a lot to say in Formula One in the future. He's young, fast, does a lot right, a nice guy on the side. He's doing a super job. He is on the market, but on the Mercedes market. I think Mercedes know exactly what they want to do with him. You have to see his talent when he's in a good car. If he can drive consistently in good cars, we will see a world champion. I trust him to become world champion if he is in the right car at the right moment. I think he has the skills to do it. I mean, Gunther sees it. So, hey, Toto, sign the boy up. Let him loose.
Sign him up, put him on.
Free. Put him on the softs and let him ripping and a tearing. That's all I want to see. But if there's any more, I think that will bring the checkered flag down on another episode of the Unplanned Pit Stop. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you, reserve driver Ollie, for stepping in as well and completing the McLaren love triangle. Which I was.
I don't love Josh in the slightest, mate.
That's why it's a triangle, mate.
There's just an extra point of contact. Instead of the McLaren love line. You can find us on the socials at The Unplanned Pit Stop on Facebook, at The Unplanned Pit Stop on Twitter, and at You Pit Stop on... I fucked it, didn't I? Jesus,
no,
Mary.
You're doing all right.
No, I said at You Pit Stop on Twitter and at The Unplanned Pit Stop on Instagram is what I wanted to say. We will be back next week, I promise, to review the Hungarian Grand Prix. Jordan looks like he's about to go to sleep. His early pod energy has it's failed.
Dissipated. And
serotonin has left the building.
He'll need to recoup for qualifying tonight.
Fucking Sarah, when I find her, I'm going to keep her.